Do you think that that the violence, the sporadic violence and complete control in curbing violence, uh, might be detrimental in all the earnest announcement which has been made by the central government, and the aim of achieving peace and harmony as far as the state of Manipur is concerned?
Uh, I hope so. Government is trying very hard, and if the government is serious enough in restoring peace and order, and if the ground troops who are supposedly following the orders of the government will take the issue rather seriously without taking any sides, then I hope a paucity of the armed conflict, I should say, or attack or counter-attack will come to a halt for some times. That's what I believe. At the same time, I would like to uh, add a few words that while when we are talking about peace and in the name of peace, it is very dangerous to play trump up the minority cards and to claim and counter claims and put the entire blames to a particular community or whatever it is. I believe that when we are talking about peace and when we are having faith in peace and reconciliation, we should forget all kinds of sectarians and chauvinistic claims and counterclaims, which would rather jeopardize the intercommunity relations. Peace cannot be restored by distortions of facts and twistings of historical narratives and all kinds of fabulous claims and counterclaims. So we must have faith in this a justice committee or a inquiry commissions where whatever blames that we may like to put or whatever claims that we may like to assert may be tabled properly instead of doing propagandas and counter propagandas through the media or whatever other social media means. This is what I believe. So while we are talking about peace, we need to control our mouth so that it doesn't create problems to the innocent civilians who are now becoming victims in our own society. So I think people who are speaking or always available on the media should take this note that if we are talking about peace, let us talk about peace. Otherwise, it is very dangerous positions to assert sectarians and counterclaims as agent. They are using the media as a means of propaganda. It's going to be very dangerous. It will
Dr.
not restore
Dr.
peace.
Malem, who are you referring this to?
I'm referring to all other forces. I am not pointing to any particular person, but I'm saying that when we are talking about peace, let's leave aside from the community and let's look as an outsiders and try to restore peace. This is my message. And if XYZ is for spreading communal venom and for spreading communal conflict, then those sections or those peoples have no right place, have no right to call for peace. And the conflict will go on. This is what I'm saying.
Now, that's a very interesting way you have put the situation, Dr. Maram, and I would be extremely happy, if you could just let us know what exactly made you say that. The thought process, what you heard or what you felt, which made you say this, Dr. Maram. If you can, expound on what you said, because there have been a lot of people, who start with peace, and then within 5 minutes of the narration, they start attacking the other community other than the community which they belong to. So, when you say something like this, what made you say this, Dr. Maram?
And we are living in a country that is suffering from so much of economic grievances and structural inequalities and deprivations. But for this, we need to work out some effective mechanisms collectively with the blind-minded peoples and the progressive peoples should unite hands, cutting across communities to bring changes in the system so that all these deprivations and inequalities, whatsoever it is, are being resolved through long process of political and economic processes. Instead of blaming one particular community as responsible for all these things, this doesn't happen because we know there is a kleptocratic regime that has been going on for long times. Many people have been deprived by their own community leaders who have come to power in the name of community and playing communal politics, but depriving their own people. All these peoples have to be isolated and pointed out. These are microscopic minorities who work in collusions, cutting across communities. Right? Peoples have to unite. Peoples have to assert for their democratic rights. But this cannot be done through all kinds of sectarian and counter-sectarian claims, blaming one particular community and targeting one particular community. when it comes to narco-terrorism or ecological destructions, or say, or the problems of, influx of people from outside, these are common issues where we all have to understand together, sit together, and work together and sort it out, instead of blaming, prof- communally profiling, or blaming one or the other as if, or playing Trump a victim of God, or playing an aggressive role, etc., etc. This should be completely avoided. We need to sense together, sit together, and work out for something which will be beneficial for the entire population across communities. This cannot be done through all kinds of chauvinistic and sectarian claims and counterclaims. So this is a short meetings that we have today. I will not be able to tell everything, but I feel very sorry that there are various peoples, various sections, various leaders who have not come out from the cocoons of their community sentiments and these great problems. It could be from among the Kukis, or from the Meiteis, or from the Nagas, or whoever it is. I'm questioning all of them, because I think that these are very small communities. They need to live together. They need to assert together. There is a bigger threat of so many things coming on and upon them. So, like,
Okay,
it's very
okay.
complex.
He's talking about communities have to getting out of their own victim card mindset, them being exploited. Talking about peace but not actually believing in it. How do you react to what Dr. Malem just said? And what do you think is the other measures the government should take to make sure that when you talk of peace, doesn't mean that it gets one side an upper hand and ensures that there's a level playing field as far as all the tribal communities are concerned, ma'am?
I think I resonate what Dr. Malem is saying, because at the end of the day, what is very critical at this moment is to look that they should no longer have more divide than it already had for the last 1 month. Now, any kind of statement, whether by the intellectual, non-intellectual community, social media, very often can bring more divide and bring more harm than any kind of reconciliation that needs to go forward. So I think we need to have a task force that actually bring both the community, all the affected, I will use the word, all the affected communities under one umbrella, to have the package more open. What kind of package is being offered to everybody at this point of time? Because that is the need of the hour. And how would the community select their leaders from those affected areas to come together for a peace reconciliation? That's a very important part, because what the community is there are the people who know what's happening in the ground. There have been both the community, like I've just mentioned over and over again in this show, is that a lot of communities, whether it's the Kuki, the Métis that we are working, if you really go back, which is unreported, they're working together, helping one another when it comes to women and girls and children, So we need to bring that aspect that in totality, community does not want this violence to go further. As a whole, the community with the lack of economic are the people who are widely affected at this moment. When we talk about packages, all communities will have to have leaders from them, who will need to come forward to work together with the central or the state to get these support at the ground in totality, I would say in the same manner. Then only you can talk, peace. And also to bring, more people who are in the community who's not having any kind of biasness, people who does not have a biasness to any communities or what has happened, bring any fraction of any kind of situation that's already happened, but rather bring that it is time to move to the next level, to first give a chance to this violence to be, to take an ending mode, unless it's going to be very challenging.
How do you see the situation moving forward, ma'am?
Well, playing victim card will not last long, because all the viewers and people ultimately will come to know the truth. So I think playing victim card is irresponsible. And these people who play victim card are not the ones who suffer today. I mean, physically, mentally, we all suffer. But one thing is, in order to build and start confidence building, I think the first thing today, what we need in Manipur is president's rule. President's rule is the only way to start, because then situation would be brought to normalcy. As I heard some very learned people even blaming the Assam rifles of taking partition amongst the people. We have reached up to that kind of propaganda. Yes, I'm not very sure of the functioning of the Indian army, but I think when I look at the situation, the army and the paramilitary forces play such a role in saving lives, in stopping, people who are marching against one another. So I really want to praise the armed forces, though I also heard so much about the commandos in helping burning down cookie villages or whatever. But till today, I do not want to blame anyone. The thing is, if I really want peace to come back to my state and that all the people live together peacefully once again, the first thing to do is to impose president's rule and then start that confidence building within that. And at the same time, I think every citizen has a role to play, especially the northeastern states, because sometimes as I look at the situation in the past and today, it makes me feel very sad to know that sometimes I, as a citizen of this country and a citizen of my state, Manipur, I feel that central government sometimes do not give us that much attention we need. As today we see, it took 30 days. So for the Home Minister to visit us, and now once he came to Manipur, everybody is so happy, and he is really doing the healing touch, which he could have done long back, at least in the first week of May, when this trouble started. However, once again, I want to thank the Home Minister coming and staying with us for 3-4 days. This is something which is really unique, and I want to thank him personally also. But at the same time, the Northeastern 7-8 sisters, I think it is time for these sisters to come together and try to solve our own family problem too, not always, depending and relying on the center for any little thing. The northeastern states must come together in the larger interest